how did you get, like, rescued?
Well, my partner had to hike out the 20 miles all night and then tell the Forest Service the bad news. Oh, he had to leave me. Yeah, absolutely.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was petrified.
What's up, guys? It's Squad Father and Life to the Max, and we're back at it again at the Abilities Expo, but this time in Dallas. Please enjoy this Life to the Max speakcast.
Just a couple of punks, all trying to get by. Just a couple of teens, all trying to survive. Live to the max, cause you don't live it twice. Couple green thumbs, all high as a cup.
And welcome back to another episode of Life to the Max podcast. This will be my final episode of day one at the Abilities Expo in Dallas, Texas. And of course, I saved the best for last. Today, I have Mark Wellman. Mark Wellman has a terrific story, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Mark, say hi to the people.
Hey, people, how you doing out there?
Yeah. All right, so tell me your story, man.
So, man, 43 years ago, I was an able-bodied climber climbing Seven Gables. And it's one of the many 13,000-foot peaks in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. And we had made the climb. We had to hike in 15 miles into the backcountry and set up a base camp at 10,000 feet. Then we climbed a 13,000-foot peak. You know, it was scrambling, but there was some technical parts of the climb too. Made it to the summit kind of late in the afternoon.
Is this with cables?
So this is, no, we had some climbing ropes and protection.
Okay.
But mainly you're scrambling up a steep, like a 45 degree angle scree field. So we get to the top and we decided to go down the backside, which was a little easier, less steep. And I slipped on some scree and rolled off a 100-foot cliff.
Wow.
At 13, well, the Seven Gables is 13,000 approximately. So I fell at like 12.5. So 500 feet from the top.
Holy crap. And how did you get, like, rescued?
Well, my partner had to hike out the 20 miles all night and then tell the Forest Service the bad news.
Wait,
and
he left you?
Yeah, he had to leave me. Yeah, absolutely.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was petrified.
I can't imagine.
Paralyzed from the waist down, T11, T12. I didn't know at the time that what even a spinal cord injury was, right?
Me either.
I just knew I had numbness in my legs and I was cut up from rolling down the cliff surface. And
what did that shock factor feel like when, like, it just completely, like, disconnected, like, your waist down?
The night was the longest night of my life.
Yeah.
And not having bivy gear, a sleeping bag, it was even at August 19th, 1982, you get freezing temperatures at that elevation. And I really couldn't wait until the sun came up. And, when the rays would finally hit you and warm up. And then, got into the afternoon and I started going, well, I'm going to hear some helicopters or something, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I knew that's how they're going to get me off. And it turned out to be a CHP, California Highway Patrol helicopter that flew in and they found me. So I heard this whoop, 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 whoop coming up the canyon.
Yeah.
And, made eye contact with the pilot and then they just flew away. And a half hour later, a second helicopter came in from Lemoore Navy base, military. So, you were part of the military trying to become a ranger, you're telling me. And it was the best sound of my life. They lowered several medics down, a Stokes litter, got me back up into the ship. And then, bad weather came in. And those helicopters, they don't fly well at that elevation.
Yeah.
It was a Huey, was a double engine. And at 13,000 feet, the pilot actually contacted me and several years ago and said it was a very difficult hairball kind of rescue. he had to bring the rotors in several feet from the cliff surface, and thunder bumpers were coming in with lightning.
Jesus.
So they had to actually leave the two medics up with me, and they landed the ship back down into a meadow, and they pulled some of the seats out and made it lighter. And when the storm, in the evening, the storm kind of subsides a little bit, and they got back up there, got us off, and we ended up actually not having enough fuel. So they had to do an emergency landing, and that CHP helicopter came pick me up and took me down to a trauma center in Fresno, California.
What year was this?
1982.
Jesus
I was
Christ.
22 years old.
That was probably the worst feeling. 22. I mean, similar. I was 20 when I got my
Yeah.
car accident. So I mean, like similar. Like I felt like I lost my 20s as soon
Right.
as I like to the 80s. It's like a time to like dance and stuff.
So when your accident happened, what year?
2016.
2016. Yeah, there you go.
Almost 10 years, man. I was finishing up at base, and I brought my friend with for the first time. First time I ever brought a friend with, and because I usually drive alone. Drove halfway, and switched seats. Came in and wake me up when we get to Chicago, and I woke up 3 days later in a hospital bed.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Paralyzed. It's a crazy feeling.
Oh, yeah.
So what?
So 82, check this out. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
as we're talking here, I'm thinking I got hurt in 1982. You got hurt in 2016, you said?
Yeah.
So I was in the hospital. My hospitalization from trauma surgery to being on a striker frame, they rotated you, to going into recovery and into rehab was a period of 7 months. And now people are, I met a guy today that was basically in the hospital for about a month.
So we actually have a similarity. I was in the hospital for a year.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's tough.
But now a lot of quads. Well, of course, you're military, so you went through the VA system, correct?
No, I actually stayed at Rehabilitation Institute Chicago in Chicago, Illinois. That's where I'm from.
On the lake, right?
On the lake.
On the lake.
It was amazing. Yes. Well, it wasn't.
That's a famous rehab, man,
I mean, that's where Christopher Reeves went.
And, Christopher Reed's on the other side of the booth of us, too.
Yeah, they said they want to do a collaboration with me. I'm super excited about that. But so let's get back to your story. We're all over the place.
We are.
So what was rehab like? Was it pretty strenuous?
Yeah, the rehab was, Kaiser Vallejo was known for something called PNF. And it's sort of like this isolated kind of movement, stretching. So a lot of people that get strokes and things can actually, get a lot of return and end up walking again with a limp or whatever the problem is. So they were kind of known for that. And I did a lot of, I think I did like 5 or 6 hours of PT a day. And of course, OT, occupational therapy.
Dude, me too. We have a lot in common, man.
And then when I got out of there, finally, I was at home, and really I kind of the depression of what had happened to me was starting to set in. And God, I got, luckily I went to De Anza College. They had a wheelchair tennis team and swimming and weightlifting. So I got involved more in adaptive sports in the beginning of tennis and the beginning of some of these adaptive sports. And then I went to another junior college and got a park management certificate and became a ranger in Yosemite National Park. So
very similar, rangers.
Yeah, the ranger in Yosemite. So got a job there, and then, of course, was in the mecca of big wall climbing, Yosemite Valley. And El Capitan is one of the features, Half Dome,
That's the
Yosemite Falls.
hardest. That's one of the hardest mountains to climb in, like a flat.
It's a sheer
surface.
cliff, you know. It's the largest unbroken granite cliff in North America, El Cap.
El
And-
Cap, yeah. I watched a whole documentary on a guy named Alex something. and-
Alex Honnold.
Yeah, that dude's crazy. Who the hell would climb El Capitan without like a free climb? What's it called?
Free solo.
Free solo.
Free solo. So there's different ways of climbing. You can aid climb when you put in a piece of protection. In the old days, we actually used pitons. It's a spike you pound into the crack. Nowadays, they tend to be a cleaner type climbing where you jam something called a nut or a friend. A friend is like a camming device that opens up in a crack.
Okay.
So you place this gear, and your free climbing is you're going above your protection. So let's say you climb, you put in a piece of protection into the rock,
Yeah.
and you climb up 5 feet above it. If you take a fall, how far are you going to fall?
Don't know.
10 feet. So you're going to be 5 feet above that protection. If you fall, you're going to fall 5 feet below. So that's a 10-foot
But
fall.
aren't you still gonna get hurt? Like probably like in your waist. Like,
Usually you don't. You have that climbing harness on. The rope has a little elasticity to it.
Okay.
It's called a dynamic rope.
Okay.
So the rope stretches. So the worst case scenario is, let's say you put in 20 pieces of pro and you take that fall, and all of a sudden you start popping that pro as you go down. That's called the zipper effect. And you don't want that to happen. That's how you can get hurt.
Yeah.
The bigger the fall, the more the hurt.
Have you ever fell? Well, besides like the.
Nowadays I'm doing aid climbing. So I would, if I was climbing El Capitan, and now I climbed El Capitan back in 1989. I was 29 years old, and
Wait.
it took us 8 days.
Wait. You climbed El Capitan as a paraplegic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, you take a rope ascending device. That's someone that rappels into a cave needs to go back up the rope out of the cave, and they use rope ascenders. And ascenders, they attach onto the rope, and you push them up with your hand. Then you use your feet. You have a piece of nylon webbing called aiders, and you put your feet into them. So you weight that piece of protection, and it locks off onto the rope. So my legs don't work, so I couldn't do that. So I had a second ascender on a chest harness. So when I do a pull-up, the second ascender on the chest harness locks the rope off, and that if you push the ascender up, if you don't have tension on it, you can just push it up. So I push it up and then do another pull-up. That locks off here.
Yeah.
You go up a rope doing pull-up after pull-up. So when I climbed El Cap, I did 7,000 pull-ups in 8 days.
So like I'm just curious, like with the feet, like your legs, like were they dangling or like?
So I developed something called rock chaps. And the rock chaps, we made the first pair actually out of canvas and leather. And my climbing partner, who now passed away, Mike Corbett, he
R.I.P.
passed away a couple years ago from either a massive heart attack or stroke. They don't know. I mean, a good way to go, but he was 68 years old, pretty young. Miss him dearly. But he went down to a place that sells leather and canvas in Fresno, California, where the helicopter flew down, and I went to the hospital in Fresno. Kind of ironic. But he came back up with these materials. We used a speedy stitcher, and we stitched these chaps. If you imagine what a cowboy wear, cowboy chaps, that was
Right.
kind of what these looked like that. They strapped around my legs, and we called them rock chaps because they reminded us of what a cowboy wears. And as I'm dragging myself up, you need to protect, your skin and areas that you don't feel.
Yeah.
You can't get a sore on you, right?
I
And
know.
that could turn into a huge nightmare.
So, like, do you have to like grab your arm and like put the leg above, like when you're climbing? So like, are you pulling your other leg up and then your other leg?
No,
up?
your legs just dangle below you.
Okay, all right.
And they have these rock chaps on.
The rock straps. Okay.
And then you're doing a pull up. I should have brought this ascender with me, because I developed the pull up bar. I actually sell them for other adaptive climbers, and for aid climbing. So a lot of adaptive climbing now with somebody that's a paraplegic that has a strong upper body that's pretty fit, they might do free climbing or top roping. So they have a rope on them and they're just using their upper body strength to do something called campusing, like on an artificial climbing wall. Like, and we have one of those here today at the Abilities Expo, where we're doing this telecast with you, or the podcast, excuse me. And and you can try adaptive climbing right here. If you have a disability, we can facilitate that dream.
Yeah, I've seen the rock climbing wall. I always see it at the Chicago Abilities Expo. But like, I think it's crazy that you said, yeah, I got hurt in '82, but fuck it, I'm climbing it in '89.
Yeah, in 1989, I was so I got hurt when I was 22. I was 29 years old. Yeah, we spent 8 days, 250 pounds of gear, 100 pounds of water. You sleep on a hammock that you attach to the rock, and it has a rigid frame. So that's kind of like your bed, your bunk. And
Wow, you're crazy, man. Like, what made you think about doing that again?
I like hanging it out there. It's just, it's not for everybody, but you're in an area where gravity is your enemy.
Yeah.
And you're up there, views of the valley. You're seeing things that the average visitor that comes to Yosemite doesn't get to experience. And there's wildlife up there. I've seen a squirrel jump out of a crack. We were 1,000 feet above the deck, and the squirrel took the plunge of death down the rock face. Or we're up there with an endangered species, peregrine falcon, and they're like jets up there because the air goes over their wings, and you hear this, and it kind of echoes on the side of the wall.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things on El Cap at night is laying on your back on a portaledge, and you see the earth. So you have, El Cap is this huge plane up in the air, and you feel the earth actually moving in that plane as you're trying to sleep at night. So you're tripping out on that.
Dude, that's gnarly, man. Hey, dude, I wish I could have you on longer. Maybe we could do a full episode at my studio in Chicago. I don't know. It's up to you. But it's been great.
Well, we'll be at all the Abilities Expo shows. We'll be there, all of them next year. We'll be in Chicago for sure. Love to come by the studio.
Okay.
We could do, talk about lighting the Paralympic torch in Atlanta, skiing across the Sierra with my arms.
Wait,
so
you lit the Paralympic torch?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. Muhammad Ali lit the big show, the Olympics and the Paralympics. And Christopher Reeve, speaking of him, we talked about him earlier. He was the speaker. He was so fresh, though, dude. It was kind of not the message that he was saying was he was going to walk again, and I'm going to come back from this, because he had just gotten out of rehab, right? He hadn't really, I don't, you don't accept anything, but at some point you got to say, this is how it is.
Dude, we're like the same people. So like, I don't adapt like depression and
Yeah.
anger, all that stuff.
Right.
Like, I refuse to accept this. Refuse. Like, I can tolerate it. That's the word. So it's depth talk.
But his message, when he was giving his message to the sports community and the Paralympics, were people that were born with their disability, right? They don't want to hear about walking again. This is what's happened to me.
Yeah.
This is how it is. And he was a famous guy, but he hadn't paid his dues in the community yet because he was so fresh.
He's fresh, man.
But you think about, the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, what they've done. It's remarkable, man.
I hope, I pray and hope that they want to do a collaboration with me. I spoke to one of the
There
people.
You go.
It would be amazing.
You need the sponsors, man. You always got to have the sponsors going.
Got to have spots
For the show, to keep the show alive, man. That's how it is.
Yeah, but all right. Well, maybe one day I'll climb El Cap with you.
That's it, man. Ciao, brother. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Is there anything you would like to say to the people out there?
Hey, never give up. Always put it out there. Follow your dreams. Love life. It's a wonderful thing.
If you enjoy this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, take a breath for me. Thank you.
You know the smell